I'm pretty convinced that everybody in this room have or would be involved if anybody close to you would need your help. And actually that happened to me when I was 17 years old. I was tired of school. I had more than enough of myself. And I took a year off. And by some reason, I ended up being a personal assistant to a very handicapped girl who had something that is called cerebral palsy. It's a damage you get if you have a lack of oxygen when you're born. And it can look very different with different people. In her case, she was so badly handicapped that the only thing she could control was her eyes and a head movement sideways. That was it. She couldn't even talk. And I was told pretty soon that her mental capacity was just as good as any 12-year-old girl. She was 12 years old. So her body that was totally strapped to this wheelchair and no ability to talk, she could only tell me yes by looking up or no by looking down. And of course, my job was guessing all day long what she needed, or when we were teaching something, by asking her questions with yes or no. 3 months after I started this job, I found myself in a workshop in this school, down in the basement. I was not allowed to, but I was there constructing some kind of device that she could communicate with just pushing a cushion with her head. This was before the computer era. And it was a little motor that was spinning a roll with 27 messages. And I did 3 rolls because I thought that we could change the rolls, because 2 of the messages could be changed to roll 1 or 2 or 3. And when we got that thing working, we were 75 messages closer to what she could communicate without us having to guess about everything. Well, life went on. I learned a lot from her, and I had a totally different career. And 5 years ago, I was asked by Sintef in Norway to create a marketplace for innovations that regarded people with disabilities. And everybody was surprised that 100% of the ideas that came in were made by people that were either relatives or working closely to handicapped people or handicapped people themselves. I wasn't, because I think that innovation is about passion, love, and empathy. When you are with somebody, you feel that you have to solve their problems. And I think that love and innovation, they're so close to each other, also as a matter of an emotion. If you're a passionate, new in love, you just met somebody, then you know how that goes. You're on top of the wave when you think that now I found the love of my life, and the next moment you're down at the bottom of the valley thinking that no way she wants me. And the same goes for innovation, you know. You know that. One moment you believe it in it, and next moment you don't believe it in it at all. And as we start an organization or a company, we start to even those wave moments, because we can't stand them. It's so hard to be in love. I think we can stand it for like 90 days. After that, we start to create an institution. We start to smooth these waves out by making rules. In a company, we start to optimize bureaucracy, and eventually we end up making this wave just a fine line with no emotion. And I think that's the most dangerous part about this. And a friend of mine, the best friend of mine, he heard me say that, and he has been married for like 30 years. And his kids have moved away from home. And he and his wife, they were moving around their bedroom in the house, in the old kids' bedrooms. And one day, his wife asked him, "Do you love me?" And then he thought, I shouldn't go the easy way. He could just have said yes, or he could have said, of course, or I didn't say anything, did I? Which is a typical man way of doing. But he didn't. He said, I'm going to think about it. And she said, for how long? And my friend, he has a total different view of time, so he said, 1 week is enough. After 3 days, he had to move away to their summer house. And there, he did something that we all do when it's too late, when it's far too late. He thought, what if my wife Lena would be dead today? What would I actually miss? What memories do I have? And of course, he remembered the waves, the ups and downs. He remembered the problems they had with their children, a big surgery. And he felt like he wanted to run home, but he wanted to do something before. So he wrote a poem. And with that poem, he went back home and he said, I love you. And now I'm going to tell you why. And after he read that poem, she was crying. And he was crying. And they both fell in each other's arms. And he said it was like we fell in love again. And I said, well, what would have happened if Lena would have thought something different during this week? That could have happened. And he said, well, when do you ever experience creativity or love without taking any risk? And that's all I wanted to say, actually. And I hope that you think about it and stop for a moment. Okay? Thank you.